No, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Hello my friends, and welcome to my wrap-up video of Halloween Hunt 2022. In addition to the footage that I took on Halloween night, I will also be doing a lights on walkthrough to briefly explain some of the things that I did. I will also be showing you how I did my toxic waste props and how I attached the Stranger Things gate and vines to the walls of the hunt. Lastly, we'll do a lights off, props on, sans actors walkthrough. Happy Halloween! Let's get to it. Okay, so now I'm just going to explain some of the things I did with all the props turned off. I have to use the flash on my camera because even with the garage lights on, it's still really dark in here. This is called Provent, and it's a lightweight black plastic that they use with insulation, I think, in the attics of homes and whatnot. So I just, I had painted it gold one year for the hotel theme, and then this year I just went over with some black spray paint to kind of dirty it up a little bit, and it just staples to the wall really easy. It just adds some extra texture and color. I cover all my walls with the black shading first, and then I cover it with whatever I can come up with to make it look like something different. So like this is silver tablecloth covers, or tablecloths, plastic tablecloths. The really cheap ones you can get on Amazon. This is my steam pipe that emits fog over in the other section, and that was made out of like the expanding pipe you use for like dryer vents. It just made it look rusty. I have a light mounted up there. And here I just hung some of the jute over the cross supports I did that go from the PVC walls over to the wall of the garage. And then these are just some cool props that I've collected over the years. This is my elevator that I've used several times as an actual dropping prop. We put people inside of it, then drop them. It's on a pallet jack. And this year, we didn't want to use it that way. It's the bottom pallet that supports the whole thing is cracked. So it is out of order. So I just decided to stick these. I have lots of mannequins. So we gave everybody a face. And then these are the walls I did out of craft paper. I just spray painted watered down black and green to make them look kind of moldy. And that's some more of that Provent. These are my styrofoam insulation boards that I carved with a soldering iron and painted to make them look like cinder blocks. Then my toxic waste made out of great stuff foam and painted with the neon colors. This is the PVC pipe that I painted to look rusty. I did that and that one right there. This is just like saran wrap that's been twisted up. Hit it with a heat gun, and then I just painted some black over it. These wall panels are from a previous haunt. I just repainted them. And then the vines that I made out of great stuff foam inside of saran wrap, wrapped around it, just let it dry and paint them. And they're really lightweight, somewhat flexible. And I just was able to hot glue these things to the walls. And I cannot believe how well they held up through all the trauma that went on in here. People were banging into my walls, backing up into them. Over on this wall, this is just Mylar. I thought it would give kind of a creepy look to it. And it even stuck to that really well. I was impressed with that. There's the gate that I made. And even these two that I strung up where people were walking through here, and they were banging into this like all the time. I thought it was going to come down. The only thing that happened is some of the plastic that was covering all this got knocked out. But the vines held. I'm shocked. In here is where I have my thunder and lightning set up. So I have my perfect storm machine hooked up with the light bulb and the CD player that plays the thunder and lightning sounds. And then I also had one more spot on that extension cord to plug in the lights for my gate. Just a couple more of my mannequins. And then this guy, the wind, we got this wind and rainstorm. He was out front, blown over, and now he's busted in half. Like, so sad. Like this whole piece right here that held his upper body, it's toast. So I don't know if we can fix him. But that was the only casualty of the storm, aside from the tent. The tent flew into the yard and is busted. But the two other props I had out there survived. So I guess, you know, that's kind of stuff that happens when you're crazy and you do stuff like this. So I think that's it. Oh, the only other thing, up here where I had a live actor hanging out over the wall and scaring people, he was back in here. You can see there's there's the little body parts that he was like dropping on people. But he just got up on the ladder and creeped him over the wall. And then the other jump scare spot was here. And this is just the area that I left open. You know, where the door to our house is. And like this sheet was down. I let them in through that door, but this was down. So then they would go that way. But then the actor was hiding in here, waiting for his prey. So that is it. That is Haunt 2022. For my toxic waste barrels, I'm using the Rust-Oleum Ultra Matte White to cover the middle section of my black garbage cans. And I just used shipping paper that I had saved with some masking tape to cover the top and the bottom of the cans. And then I'm just covering up the entire can around that area where the stencil is, because I thought I was going to be spray painting it, but it turned out that the stencil wouldn't lay flat enough for me to do that, so I had to spray paint onto my plate and then sponge it on there with a little dauber. You can see here how it does not lay flat against the surface. Okay, so I forgot to hit record. I stenciled on the spray paint, but lots of bleed through, even with holding it down with my fingers as I was doing it. So I'm just going to try it again on the other side. Maybe use a smaller pouncer, and we'll see how that goes. I'm going to have to touch all this up. it'll be, in the end, it'll be fine because nobody really pays attention to the details, but I'm disappointed at how difficult this little simple project is turning out to be. Okay, we'll do the other side. I'm going to be using the Great Stuff Gaps and Cracks for my toxic waste. I invert the lid of my garbage can and cover it with the disposable plastic painter's drop cloths. And then I start applying my foam. This way I can build it up and make it look like it's actually kind of bubbling out of the garbage can and down over the sides. Using the plastic underneath this made it a lot easier. You could pull it out and get that great stuff to really attach to it. Plus, once it's dry and painted, you just cut all that away, and now it doesn't stick. It's not stuck to your garbage can or whatever you're using for this, and you can just store it separately or whatever, and then you have a garbage can that you can still use. So here it is when it's all done, and here it is with a coat of the neon green spray paint. And now I'll be adding some cinnamon and some marigold to give this a more realistic look. So now I just need to grunge up my toxic waste barrel with some flat red primer. Just kind of dusting it on there, not a lot of coverage, but I really want to make sure I have enough on there to make it look like it's dirty and worn. And then I also go in with some of the marigold yellow and then some of the cinnamon. So now to do the base of my toxic waste scene, I put the plastic painter's tarp into the barrel, taped it up onto the walls, and over the base of the prop that I'm going to be using in this scene, so that I could run this around and like the base of the prop, and then cut out the plastic and then put the prop over that so it would look like she's standing in it. But this way it covered up, it protected the floor the base of the prop, the barrels, all of that. And this is how it looked when it was all done and painted. For my moldy walls, I hung craft paper and I hot glued the seams. I did this for all of my walls and it worked out really well. And now I'm taking watered down black paint and spraying it all over. And then I do watered down green paint and it looks much darker here, but when it dries it is much lighter and just gives a nice moldy effect. And this is just where I'm trimming the bottom of the silver tablecloths, and then I can tape them to the underlying black plastic sheeting. And so now what I'm doing is I'm painting the back side of the doors I had used in a previous haunt. I'm just giving them a base coat as like I'm doing here on the previous haunt walls. And then I'm adding some of the red and gold colors in there to kind of make everything go together. And then giving another coat of this paint over that to mute down those colors. Now this is the PVC framework that I'm going to be attaching my gate to. I want to attach this wood piece onto my gate and then screw that into the PVC just to give it some support. So I'm applying some of the Gorilla Wood glue onto the board, and I'm going to attach that to the bottom of my gate and then clamp it into place until it dries. So now once it's dry, I can use a drill to make some small holes into my gate and use some zip ties to thread through and tie around the PVC pipe on each side. And then I can screw that board into that PVC pipe on the bottom. And there we are. Then I just used hot glue to attach the vines to the wood walls as well as the mylar walls. Let's take a little tour without the actors.
Hey guys, look at Galore. Oh, what is that? Yo, Steve, look at my tennis balls. Bro.
Run like a little girl! Don't come back!
Thanks so much for watching. I hope you had a very happy Halloween. And as always, I hope I've inspired you to go create something. See you next time.